right.
Anybody stress out? Your dog stress you out, family, your mom, even your professor. The kids don't stop screaming. Your boss has been hounding you at work. You turned a report in late. You owe the IRS thousands of dollars. You seriously been stressed out? Stress is actually a normal part of life. At times, it serves a useful purpose. Stress can motivate you to get that promotion at work, or even run that last mile of a marathon. If you don't get a handle on your stress, it becomes a long-term, it can seriously interfere with your job, family, life, and health. But more than half of Americans says that they fight with friends and loved ones because of stress, and more than 70% say they experience real physical and emotional symptoms from it. And so today I want to inform you guys on student stress. But I want to get into and talk about the sources of effects that student stress and what can it do physically and emotionally. When the body is stressed, the muscles tense up. The muscle tension is almost a reflex, a reaction to stress, the body's way of guarding against injury and pain. With a sudden onset stress, the muscles tense up all at once and they release their tension. When the stress passes, chronic stress causes stress. The muscle is a body to be in more or less constant state of guardedness when muscles are taut and tense for long periods of time. This may trigger other reactions of the body and even promote stress-related disorders. For example, both tension-type headache and migraine headache are associated with chronic muscle tension in the area of the shoulders, neck, and head. And so, for college students, us, our daily routine in the morning, even first semester, second semester. However, the most stress that comes is when kind of like in the middle. So not when it starts, because we don't get a lot of homework in the beginning. But stress is basically defined as an applied force or system of forces that tends to strain or deform the body. It is usually caused by something that is out of the ordinary from everyday life, things like tests, family problems, and loss of job. Today's students have a lot of stress because of a lot of different reasons. There are many things that cause stress for college students, school-related issues, relationships, and peer pressure. One of the main causes of stress is adapting to the new life which we have suddenly landed in. For me, it is the first time that I have lived outside the nurturing and the protective security of the family unit. My parents used to provide for me materially and used to set down boundaries on how I'm supposed to live my life. But this no longer applies in college. And one of the first tasks that I should undertake to find my identity is effectively test that rules that we were set out by my parents. The uncertainty and the lack of identity is a common cause of stress for me. So, stress can cause skin issues and even breakouts to our face or our body. So this is a person's leg. By just stressing out like this, your body can break out and it can actually hit hormones to you. So it can cause a chemical response in your body that makes skin more sensitive and reactive. It can also make it hard for skin problems to heal. And this next picture is, you can take it how you want, but I'm not trying to be funny about it because it's kind of serious. So, buttocks. So I'm not gonna ask that question. But some people get pimples on their butts because by really stressing out. Zits, even rashes and things like that. Have you ever noticed that you broke out more when you're stressed out, or you start worrying about something that you have no control over? This is because stress causes your body to make hormones like cortisol, which tells glands in your skin to make more oil. Oily skin is more prone to acne and other skin problems. So now I want to give you some stress relievers. whenever you're stressing out, try to avoid caffeine, alcohol, nicotine, more physical activities, sports, hobbies, you want to work out. If you like to go to golf and stuff, I don't know, just golf. Get more sleep, try relaxation techniques, talking to somebody, usually venting and like confessing things inside of yourself to another person. So, because when it builds up inside of you, it kind of just makes you just more even irritated than what you really are. Keep a stress diary. If you want to, I have a journal. I pour out my thoughts into the journal, and it kind of helps a lot. It's like talking to something, but you just kind of writing it out instead. So if you ever feel like you can do that, then maybe go get a journal. Take control. You know, kind of step down and step over stress and to be like, this is not going to happen, and you know, this is my life. I'm gonna try to manage all these things that are happening towards me right now, and to even manage your time. But as a college student, you need to try and manage life and to be able to relieve stress. And we shouldn't be stressing over things because at the age we're at, we have a long life ahead of us, and to be stressing over things that could make us feel like we're older when we should be really just kind of living in the moment right now and what we have in front of us. Because some of us, stress could really, it could bring cancer to things, and stress can make you overwhelmed in what you really are, and it can bring you down to a depressed state. It can ruin your hobbies. Whenever you feel like doing something, it can ruin you from actually going out to being who you're supposed to be and the fun you want to do. But when you're stressed out, it just kind of just sucks the life out of you, sucks the bones dry out of you. Yeah, that's me.
Oh, excuse me. So, Corey, what did you think?
It was good overall. The transitions were good. The whole point was good. Maybe it was just me, but I was kind of confused. Was it stress in college students, or was it stress like just overall? Like in the beginning, it kind of just seemed like just stress. And then at the end, you're giving us like that motivational speech about stress, and I was like, oh yeah, it's for us. And then, but yeah, so I was kind of confused there, but yeah, the eye contact was cool. It could have been better, but it was cool. And the points he was making was good. The visual aids, they were cool. Oh, I could have used a visual aid, just me because I'm a visual person, but about how you said that it was affecting the body and like parts of the body, like your muscles and stuff, like a visual aid with that could have been cool too. But overall, it was okay.
All right.
I mean good. I mean good. Not okay, but good.
Okay is okay. You know,
Okay.
it's all right. You know. Yeah. No. It's the topic. Like I think she said it very clearly. The topic is stress. But the more you go along and the more it sounds like it's stress in a particular age group. And if that was the point that you were going to have, that should have been clearer a little bit earlier. I'm going to disagree with her a little bit about the transitions because I did feel like you were jumping around a little bit. The organization and the transitions, to me, were the weak part of the speech because I was listening at one point. I got definitions. I got the importance of stress. I got some more definitions. I think there was a section on causes. I think there was a section on symptoms. I think there was a section on stress relief, but it doesn't feel like it's plotted. It feels like that's just the next thing that you thought to speak of. So you want to lay out that direction at the beginning. Let's define what stress is, and in particular, let's talk about how it affects the body. And then we're going to talk about what people can do, where it is that people get their stress from, and then finally we'll talk about how you can avoid stress or relieve it when you are suffering from the stress. 3 or 4 simple points is the easiest way to go with this. And then you can group some of that material together a little bit more. You can get away with maybe bouncing around a little bit on it. If it's at least in one category together, then it doesn't feel like you just randomly wandered back to the same spot again. I think you've got information in here that you're not citing. A couple of times it sounded to me like you're reading something that you got for your research, but then you didn't give a source citation on it, and I thought, well, maybe that's him originally, but now there's no proof on it, or maybe he's reading something, but he's not giving a source citation on it, and you need to be consistent about that. So I thought that was a little bit problematic. You had some good examples of things that happen when people are stressed out. The impact on the body, for instance, I think you kind of rely primarily on physical manifestations like the rash or the acne kind of thing showing up, and those are okay, but there are other aspects of stress that are important. Randomly at one point toward the end you say cancer and depression, and I'm going, wow, that would have been something that maybe you could have spent a little bit of time talking about. As it is, it's just a drop in toward the end, and it just feels like it's not really developed at all, and there's no data on it, no information on it. So you've got a good subject. It needs to be focused a little bit more. You need more organization. I could see research is being used in the speech, but it's not being cited very clearly, and it's a little inconsistent about when you've got something that that's your material and when you are quoting something. And like I said, I didn't really hear any source citations when you were quoting something, so that's a little bit of a problem. The visuals were fine. You introduced them. They're both in one spot, and they're basically about the same sort of thing. Even though it's a different manifestation, it's the same sort of thing. You've got a skin reaction to this. One person gets hives, another person gets acne on their butt, that kind of thing. And by the way, my guess is it's not just their butt that they're getting the acne on when they're stressed out. They get acne in other places too. But that's one of the typical places, and it's kind of a humorous little thing to look at. And what I would do is, the way you're talking about it, maybe start with talking about acne and say, people get acne for all kinds of reasons. Stress is one of those things, and you think acne on your face is a problem. Well, guess what? Sometimes it shows up in the least pleasant places you can imagine. And then show us that next slide, and everybody would get a little bit of a laugh out of it. It wouldn't be quite as awkward, and you'd be making your point. You draw a little bit more attention to it than you need to, and then it feels awkward as a consequence. All right, thank you.